There we are live. So this is the park board. We'll call it the order at 6:01 today. Um, Casey's not going to be here because she is at a baseball game and
Softball.
Right, but we have a problem. Okay, so if we go ahead and have a moment of silence. And then if we could go ahead with the review and adoption of minutes. I sent out to you minutes from the last meeting, but I did send to you the minutes from the meeting before one, May, early May.
I said this.
You
I
said-
put them in there. I put them
okay.
up there.
So they have been
Did you-
circulated.
They're even.
I've read
In
through all.
May, I know I read the ones that Jerry sent. I'm not sure if I read them. I'm sure I ripped up the one in May.
That was what they
Yeah,
were.
honestly, I can't
Yeah.
remember. I'm sure I have.
Okay, we'll take just a minute, take a look at that.
Do you need to get that, Jerry? Did you already
Thank you.
get that?
Okay, everybody good? All right. So the first motion, well, we just made three votes if there's a
Yeah.
motion.
I'll make a motion to approve both minutes.
I second.
Seconds, Eli, and then, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. So it's good. Communications from the floor. Denise, were you aware of some things?
Yes. I have been made aware that the mosquito issue in Ravine Park, a large majority of it is because of the standing water in the pool. I got a hold of the health department today to find out what can be used to kind of kill the mosquitoes and their eggs. And he had given me the products that they have given in the past. They used to give them away free, they don't do that anymore. So we'll have to order it and we'll get the full treated so that by the next twilight, hopefully they won't be there as an issue.
I didn't think there was an issue last time.
No,
I
but
didn't
it was
have
also
mosquito.
cooler. It was cooler.
Yeah,
Once it
I
heats
mean,
up, then we'll
I didn't
a lot
have
more
mosquitoes bother me at all.
Yeah, last
Did-
week it was
did anything,
wonderful.
did you?
No, I did not. I think the
It
park
was a
program,
beautiful night.
Yeah. I think there was a few complaints at park program, but nothing.
Right. But we want to get ahead of it before it gets bad.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
We appreciate that for sure.
we're
Thanks.
gonna get that taken care of right away.
Okay. So Rec Inc. is gonna treat the pool for mosquitoes and I'll do that quickly. All right, thanks a lot. Various updates. Twilight, what's happening on Twilight?
It went very well. Very well.
Was that the most we've had? I feel like it was a.
No, we had that big group like that before.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have, yeah.
Yeah.
But we had
I thought the band was good.
80, I think maybe 80, 90 people there. Easy, yeah,
The band was good.
If not more.
yeah.
And Rec Inc. was doing the food, Is that right?
Yes, it
Yes.
did very well.
Okay, excellent. So,
Yeah, they
the
were
winner on
happy.
all counts.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
All right, super.
The, Sojourner Rocks had been here before, they were up at the pavilion in McDonald Park before. They didn't know why we would ever not do it down the Ravine Park.
Really? They
Yeah.
like the acoustics
Oh.
and stuff?
They liked the Ravine Park a lot, yeah.
Okay.
He said, we were trying to squeeze in that little stage and it was hot and it, yeah. They were very pleased. They've come back in a heartbeat. They were very pleased, yeah.
Nice to hear that the band likes it.
Yeah, yeah. they
Because there
were
was some
fine.
question
They were
about
very loud, though.
acoustics from some folks, but the band was good with it.
Yeah, the band was, although when I first signed up.
Usually more people complain about how loud it was in the building, but once they sat outside of the building, they were fine.
They were
They,
good.
they stayed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about, there was some discussion about anywhere landscaping at Donald Park. Have any further information on that?
Bob Shepherd said that he went through Dwayne Roderick to get all that done at the park, and I have not been able to get hold of Dwayne to find out, how he did that or what went on with it. That Attica Floral is happy to help us out with it, and Carolyn has not given us that I know of, he's not given us an estimate.
Okay. All right. And I'm glad you mentioned the estimates because remember, if we have a little bit of time today, we'll try and throw out some of the topics and we'll want to be getting estimates between now and when we meet with the city as we're trying to form a budget. Okay, golf course. Just so you know, all the golf course signs have been installed now, and the course has been changed from a 9 to a 918 hole. I mean, that's wishful thinking anyway, because it's just flipping it back. But on the 10th hole, there's a list of what all the cars are and what the distances are, and so people can take a picture of that and be able to circle back and finish. What hasn't been installed is a big welcome picture that shows the whole course, and we just got that, I picked that up yesterday or the day before, and so we have to put one more post, horizontal post, and then we install it. So that's gonna probably happen in the next week or so, and then this course will be all done for now.
I'm shocked at how many people use that.
Yeah, the more I paid attention to that, the more I saw people out there
Yeah.
pitching those discs. Yeah,
Yeah, a
it's-
lot. I can't believe how many. It's a
fun.
good thing, yeah. But yeah, there's some people that are really, really good at it, though.
Yeah. My dad plays a lot.
Does it? My goodness.
Okay, Twilight. Okay, park program. Ellen, can you speak to that?
I can. So the first Monday we had 90 attendance, and then today we had 100. And I think that's the most we've ever had. And lunch has been provided both days. The Presbyterian Church is doing it, and we actually did not have enough pizzas. And Casey's gas station donated pizzas to fill in the gap since we had so many show up today. And all meals are covered for the whole summer. Casey has worked hard on that and has got that squared away, and all lunches will be prepared for each week.
I visited and it looked like it was going very well in the visit.
Yeah,
Monday.
yeah.
Monday visited.
Yeah, it does feel like very active.
I saw the counselors out there playing with the kids along
Yeah.
with them.
I've been impressed.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job. They painted a mural on
It was today.
and that looks good. That
Just
turned
saw
out
that
really well. And then lifeguards is Casey got that all squared away, and we hired 2 Harrison Hills lifeguards, and they got the paperwork ready by the superintendent, submitted to the school, so that's squared away.
Lots of hard work there, and a lot of effort. Appreciate it. Programs really taking off. People are noticing we're getting donations from the program.
Yeah, lots of donations specifically towards the food, which is great. And Mariah's done a great job calling it out on social media, thanking everyone who's donated. And yeah, it's been a lot.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, update on equipment. So equipment is being painted in Ravine Park. We've got gradually we're getting the coating on that's epoxy primer that's supposed to help hold the paint better, and then we're putting an epoxy paint on it that's supposed to non-chip and keep vibrant longer. So it's a good quality paint, and it's expensive, honestly. So
It's
it's
thick,
it's
very thick.
it should really give us some good service. I hope. So we are certainly open for volunteers, and typically we're working on this on Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, 9 to 12, and 1 to 4. So if people are interested on Saturdays to come, the main thing right now is painting.
Yep.
That we could sure appreciate the volunteers. Now, as far as the two elementary sets, the two sets that were at the elementary school, one's been disassembled, the other one's still fully assembled. And then the one that's up high on the hill, we don't have anything to do with that. Okay. But the one that's been disassembled, we one of the things that we had to do before it could be reassembled was to coat all of the platforms and stairs so that they were skid proof or skid resistant. So we researched the paint and all of this, and we talked to a playground specialist, and they said, yeah, this should be a good paint for that. So that's done. And so we're pretty well to where we could install the smaller one up by the toddler park. Well, I call it toddler park. The little park up by the raised beds. And while I'm thinking about that, and I'll get back to it, the raised beds, I see that there are several plants. Community people have been putting plants
Yeah,
in.
it wasn't the park program who did that.
Was it your grandpa?
It might have been. I'd have to ask him, but
Yeah.
he probably did.
Yeah, she asked me, I said, might have been Eli's grandpa.
Well, I knew our neighbor donated some, and my daughter put them in.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And maybe her husband too. And so I think different folks are
That's
are
awesome.
going up there and putting in. So
Yeah.
it is really swell.
Yeah, Mariah said for the older parkies, she's gonna have them have like a duty, active service watering and weeding the
Oh,
garden.
nice.
So I think that will help maintain it.
Good. Okay, the other piece of equipment that's still standing, I think the way this is gonna go is that the contractor is gonna come and disassemble it and then leave. So that we'll have some time to finish the platforms and steps, because it does take time to clean out and scrape them down. So that could be how it goes. It's also possible we'll take them down, install the other one, and if we had some luck, we got it all done in time and dry, then we go ahead and install the bigger one, which will go over in Circuit Park still. So we'll see. But that's what right now, pretty much the playground people are trying to reach this calendar. All right, so that's where we are. Okay, on to new business. So first proposal is to authorize salaries for the summer program staff and to set those salaries. Now, I don't know, is there anybody here, I'm showing my ignorance, I don't know what their staff salaries are. So do you?
I do have an email that Joanne sent me. I'll have to refer to it.
Good.
Because I don't want to throw out wrong numbers. So one
Maybe go ahead
second.
and make that official.
So this would be for the park director, assistant director, and the
And the
counselors.
counselors, and then for the lifeguards.
Okay. And we are allowed to say these salaries.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's public record.
Okay. So starting with the park program director, their pay is $21.40. So 40 cents.
So 2,100.
No, an hour.
An
An
hour.
hour. $21.40 an hour.
Is there a limit to the hours? Set any limits on any of these things? Or it's just-
It's not. It doesn't say.
Okay, so this one, it's only like 40, correct? And then the assistant,
The assistant is $18.50,
okay,
and then the counselors are $16.05.
and then the lifeguards.
Lifeguards are $12.50.
Okay, and there was discussion about that being raised to,
The lifeguards, Casey had a really hard time finding lifeguards to do it for that pay, especially if they were traveling from Lafayette.
right,
So the question was to raise it to at least that they're getting paid the park counselors, the $16.05, or potential for more. I,
Yeah.
I guess that's up for discussion.
Yep. Now, has there been any commitment to what they're gonna get paid? Has anybody been told, here's what you're gonna get now?
So the lifeguards right now are getting paid the $12.50.
That's what they've been told.
Yes,
Nothing.
correct.
Okay. So, right now, we've got a motion on the floor you've made, right, for Director 2040, 1850 for assistant, 1605 for counselors, and we're still yet to propose what the lifeguard is. If you're making this motion, do you want to propose it for 1605, or is there something else you have in mind?
I think it'd be fair for them to at least get paid the counselor position, the citizen.
Yeah, it's not too much of a
Yeah.
financial burden on somebody
Yeah.
I
else.
think it's fair.
So
Okay,
1605.
so then the lifeguards would get 1605 as well.
Okay.
All right, so
Is
that's
that
our
what-
motion.
I make a motion to propose that the lifeguards get paid $16.05.
Okay, along with the other things we just mentioned. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
So that's Ellen and Leland. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Now,
Okay.
sorry, question. So this is what lifeguards would get paid for next year or starting now?
Starting now.
Okay, okay. Just want to make sure I understood that.
Okay, now is there anybody else with new business, any motions that we've not talked about so far? Because what we're gonna move into, being conscious of the time, of course, is a work session where we begin to brainstorm what we think we should be thinking about for budget. All right, so that's not really gonna be a motion other than an enabling motion that we're gonna have a work session, okay? But anything we come up with will be ideas, not actual gonna do this, okay?
So where does this shed come
Shed's already been authorized
from, right?
and approved, and additional funds donated. And I believe that since there's been no further discussion here,
I just talked to Larry outside and Larry said he thought it was already everything was a go, so.
and there hasn't been anything from the floor further,
Somebody's here.
I'll be calling tomorrow.
Do we know the timeline again on
Yeah,
that?
the way they told me it would work was 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And it would be, now just to ask your opinion, you guys, our pavilions are all gonna get stained or painted. Now, I was talking to a painter, a professional painter, he said you'd be better off to paint those pavilions rather than stain them. There'll be less maintenance for if you do that, they'll last a month or two. So, and the storage shed is gonna be painted. So what I'm thinking is that we will paint the storage and the pavilions all the same color to match the color of the big pavilion as close as we can. Is everybody okay with it?
Yep.
Then the other part is the big pavilion has the white color strips. None of the other pavilions do, they're not painted. But we could go ahead and do that as part of the spruce up somewhere along the way, we paint those pills, the pylons white. If that were the case, there's trim on the storage shed that could be painted white. We can opt that if we want. So it would be kind of a tan, kind of a gray. It's a funny, but I got the color. They said they would match it. They would get it from that. There's a particular paint they like to use, paint company. So I got that paint, and they'll match it and use it. And then it would be white trim, and then it would be a brown cocoa metal roof, just like our big pavilion is. Does that sound okay for colors?
Yeah.
All right, then that's what we'll order. It's well built, according to Levi, who's a person that does it, and according to another person from the Baseball Association, they thought it was well built. So I did check into some of the things, and they're 16-inch on center, which is, sometimes people will kind of cheat with a 20-inch on center, meaning there's more space between the studs. But it's 16 on center. And the guy that I talked to said that they, they what we're ordering has worked fine for people who are trailer tractors. And what was it, was a 360 turnaround thing, whatever they call those things.
Zero
They put those in and they don't have any trouble with the floor support and never sagging or anything like that. So it sounds to me like we're getting, if we needed the space to actually put equipment in there, we could. So looking at the layout, it's going to be 10 feet wide and 16 long, which is pretty long. But we'll enter from the front, up the long end, right? Not the wide end, but from the front to the long end. That way, we're not taking up two parking spaces, just one parking space. And with the parking space itself, I think it's 125 feet or more. So there'll be no problem with accessing the front. And then the design, at least at this point, is to put 5 shelves on each side of the back. A little less than 24 inches deep. What that allows is for big storage trays to slide in, so you could store everything in storage trays all the way around and use the full space instead of, you pile it up on the foot and start sliding out. Put it in those storage trays. So I think it'll be a real efficient way to be able to store. And since there's this big space in the center, you can go anywhere you need to pull things out. You're not going to be jumping all around trying to squeeze in around the stuff.
So the park board has a lot of totes. So the shelves going to be wide, far enough apart that totes will fit on those, because that's what they really need.
That was the intent, was that totes would fit. So when I looked at a commercially available tote, and if the parking board's already purchased certain totes, we can go look and make sure it's wide enough.
Yeah.
But I was making it for a pretty good size tote.
Okay, good. Because I know they already have some totes, but I don't
Yeah,
know
so
size
we definitely
wise.
should measure some. Levi, representing Pickleball Association, said he would be willing to help with installing the shelves. So originally we were going to go with doing something through Menards, and then it would have been completely built. They would have just put it there. And by the time we were done with that, we were starting to get pretty close. What they were quoting was right at 3,000, but what was at 4,000. And this way, Levi can be putting his energy to shelving and installing the shelving instead of having to build the thing and then we get the shelving someday. Yeah. And I thought that made more sense, that we should have something as quickly as we could. And he didn't say he would do the shelving. I was just thinking, how much are we asking anybody to do for free? So now I think having to do the shelving is a decent thing. And that is often we can ask questions, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what that's looking like. And then the turnaround time is 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
It'll be delivered on site. We had to make application for building permit, and I haven't gotten the go ahead on it, but I wasn't getting any idea there was going to be a problem. Okay, and then it's going to be placed on the very far end of the Lions Club, what is now a parking lot. So it'll be as close as possible to the pickleball court and to park instead of on the other end of the parking lot. And it still should give space for the disc people to be able to work around and through that building sitting. And I like the idea that it's sitting in a solid ground rather than dirt. It will be on with 4x6 skids. It'll be on top of 2 4x6 skids, but still have that on a solid surface rather than sinking down in the dirt and being more susceptible to trimmings. So, yeah, anybody have any concern about any of that? Okay, we'll get it over to
Right, excited.
yeah, it is exciting. Okay, now time to talk about things. Now, there's some things I already know about. One would be the rehab of Arms Wood. This would be benches and one bridge. We were looking for help. It was going to cost $13,000, and that grant didn't go through. Another was for $25,000 to put gravel in the paths of Arms Woods, and that's a quote. There's no. That's just what it costs. And then Arms Wood actually has more paths than Ravine does, so you can guess it's going to be a little less. But altogether, we might be looking at $45,000 to put gravel on those two sets of paths. Another thing would be the floor of the pavilion. And since we had the state engineer come out and say it's okay, you've got a good structure, you need to repair a few things. And one of the things that came up was the floor, because as you know, when you walk around that floor, it's got edges like a catch toes. And so I had a person come out. He was quoting that he could level up the worst section, which is kind of toward the pool and toward the playground. Yeah, that corner of the, he could raise that corner for about 3,500. I didn't have him do that. We talked about it. We tabled it, but I think that's something we should be thinking about in the near term. Maybe even start doing this once we've looked at what things look like and budget. Another thing that came up was the slats. Now this is just new, but when you go down to Wood Island Park and then you're looking that
Wabachi
way toward, I'm sorry,
Wabachi
Wabachi Park,
Okay.
yeah. And you're working, you invariably end up looking at the wastewater treatment.
Yeah.
So there has been some suggestion that we buy slats. There's about a 220-foot stretch that would more or less cover the bottom half where all the heavy gravel is, the big chunks of cement, and then maybe paint some nice color instead of it just being plain cement, which would be above the fence.
Didn't the council talk about putting trees there?
There's also that, but I don't think they were talking about putting in fully mature trees. It could be years, but for you'd have
Thought they were talking about that. What?
The city council voted against the slabs in the last year.
Yeah.
Because they said
Because
that.
they said something about the,
It didn't look right.
yeah, they talked about the trees,
Yeah,
that they were gonna do, but they're not trees, they're, I don't know, what do you call them, but the kind of trees that hide everything,
Yeah.
okay.
not pine
So,
trees, but what I'm
yes.
talking about.
If the city council's already seen that as their
Yeah,
issue,
they did, yeah,
we'll leave that.
because I knew they were talking about trees.
Okay, let's leave that there. And scratch the slats. Another is the potential of hiring a person to open and close and clean bathrooms for green and Wabachi parks. So we would need to get a quote on that. Actually, kind of seeking volunteers that would be a coach. I did wonder whether some of the folks that are currently doing trails, for example, whether they have any interest in maybe adding a person onto their staff to do that, or add that as a responsibility. So I'm wondering, and I don't want to put this on you, but if you're willing to talk to them, would you be willing to ask them if they have any interest in doing that?
Sure.
Then what we'd probably be looking at would be like a labor contract or something.
Yeah.
We have that. Then we would still though be in a position of keeping the porta potties there because their facility closes at night.
I can talk to them.
I'd appreciate that. Okay, so we'll have Ellen just checking that out. And
Nothing else, even if we could get the city open in the morning, because they're there every morning except for weekends to empty trash. They can open every morning but not close at night,
well, we can ask.
because they are there every
They-
morning.
There was a time that was being done and then it was stopped.
Yeah, I know.
So we can at least ask and say, is there a couple nights here we open and then we find something that clean those?
Yeah.
And we could bring that up at the budgeting session. So once we get kind of, maybe we'll have a quote, here's what it costs, you think we could do this or that? Okay. It was pointed out to me that the tennis courts are looking kind of rough. And what I'm concerned about is that the surface, the new surface is flaking off, which is suggesting, I'm not a professional at this, but it makes me wonder whether the surface below was properly repaired.
No, it wasn't. They know that, yeah.
Okay.
But we had it was $50,000 to redo the courts, to resurface the courts.
Was that to take it down, all the way down and then resurface?
Yes. It's a company out of Shipshewana Airport, so somewhere up there. I can't remember exactly where it was.
How
But anyway,
long ago was that?
the first year I came in, so it's been 2 years ago.
So 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
All right, so we're looking at something that's in the neighborhood of 50 to 75,000.
Yeah, probably could be, yeah. Pricey on it.
And with
But I know it's
that, they were gonna
50,000.
take it all the way down to the asphalt and then do it again.
Yes, yeah.
So that's good.
He
because
said that was the only way it
asphalt
could be
is good.
fixed. And he told us that's the only way it could be fixed, because I went up when he was there.
And do you remember the name of the company?
I have it.
Okay.
I'll
Do you
look
know,
at
was
it.
there more than one quote?
Nope, that was the code we got. The Leslie company, which is the one that put that coat on there. The first coat was Jim Martin. He used an oil-based paint, and that was the wrong thing to put on the court. But he researched it, and that's what they told him to use. So it's not his fault. But he put that on the court, and then that was coming up or flaking or whatever. So then they went and had Leslie do it. Leslie just went over that, which didn't help any because it was still going to come up from underneath. So then when Leslie did it, it just got worse.
Okay. Well, as I recall, when we were doing stuff with the elementary playgrounds, as soon as you go over 50,000, you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
So we'll have to be thinking about that, but at least in terms of the budget thinking. And I think this is a reasonable priority.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
So, I don't know, if you're somewhat familiar with that and willing to look into it, Nancy, would you be willing to see
Sure, I'll check it
what
out.
quotes might look like?
Yeah.
And let's look at 2. Okay. All right, the quotes that came for the gravel, that came from Smart. Fred's a leopard. And it was under, but if we did both, I don't know, we could do it with 50,000. So we'll have to see. Or it could be, we say, well, one year we do this, another year.
And that's like actual gravel or what's on the trails now?
It's on the trails.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah, it's
derma,
that
whatever.
fine-
Yeah.
He says what's nice, and I can notice that when we walk on it. Speaking of which, when we walk on it, boy, is it nice having that trail cleared.
Yes.
Good work,
Yes,
Al.
it is. Mhm.
Yeah, they are doing it. I went in with a saw the other day. We got about 3 or 4 people wandering around with saws cleaning up the trail, which is kind of
Good.
nice. They're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
voluntary.
Good.
Okay. Now, I'm remembering that at different times, different folks have said, I wonder if we should do this or this or that. So does anybody have a wish list here that they want us to be thinking about?
Did we check on the gravel for around the pavilion? Did we check on gravel for that one side of the pavilion?
Oh, we did, and we didn't get anything back as far, we have to, I think we sent it to a person who said, I'm not responsible for that. Now you've got to talk to the company and see what they
Okay.
say.
It's like on the one side, it's cleared out, foundations like showing underneath, like where an animal could actually make holes under the foundation if they wanted to. I mean, it's really coming up a lot, I think. The ground, and either we need to put more dirt down and bring it up to the foundation or gravel or something because.
Well, in terms of dirt, we're gonna have plenty of that when we excavate the 2 places that we're gonna be putting in the playgrounds.
Mhm.
They're gonna be set down into the dirt. Now, most of what we've
Yeah.
been doing, we've been putting them up above the dirt because it's just too costly to excavate it all. But those will be set in the dirt, so all that dirt's gonna be removed
It'd be nice to-
It'll be a pile that we can put all over the parks, all
It'd be
over the
nice to
city.
put some of that
wherever
over there,
we
wouldn't
enter.
Yeah, for sure.
So that'll, we could be thinking, you could be thinking, I know going into the Wabash River overlook, there's holes in there, you can just turn your ankle as you walk.
Mm.
So we can fill all of those,
Mhm.
and just different things like that.
Denise, you have something?
Yeah, this weekend, two people ended up twisting their ankles there at the big pavilion at Ravine Park. Because on the end that's closest towards the pool, the end there's a lot of like holes there by the pavilion that if you're not paying attention, looking at the ground,
Mhm.
if you step down in that, it's very easy to twist your ankle.
Okay,
So, and I know two people that did twist it this weekend. So,
And I
and
had,
he's filled in with something.
I asked Eli if you bring up the tree stumps. Did you bring that up?
I don't remember. I might have. Maybe I didn't.
Can we remove some of those tree stumps? They're
oh,
rotten.
that's what that was, I knew you had a pet
Yeah.
project, okay, remove tree stuff.
Well, some of them are really rotten and little kids shouldn't be playing on them. They're pretty sharp, so. And actually my van, the Sojourn Rocks, he actually hit one of those with his van too. His front tire, he actually got stuck on it. They had to push him off. The one that's down there by the pavilion.
Well, I know,
So
a couple years back, I got rid of, and it was about $200 to get rid of one. And that was about like that size.
But since we have several, maybe we could get a deal.
Well,
I don't know. I
can-
mean, I just
can
thought
call
something we
the
could put in
guy-
our budget maybe for next
Yeah,
year.
I can
even.
I'll call the guy that did the trunk removal for me, the trunk removal,
Mhm.
and have them quote what they think they could do in Ravine.
Great. That'd be great, yeah. There's a lot of them, actually.
Okay. Ravine tree stump, Jerry. Okay, so I'll check into that. Oh, I know. What do you know about the floating dock?
Still haven't got a response back. I don't know, but I'll reach out again.
Okay, I'd like to put some pump into that so that, maybe before the summer's over, we've got it in. And
Yeah.
if we need to think about, well, what else would that take? Like suppose we can get that paid for, but this, and this we need to do as part of that so that we can be thinking about that for that budgeting. So I wonder if maybe you could, I don't know, be very more persuasive about trying to get a response. Okay.
Jerry,
Did we
Yeah.
get,
the floating dock is something that we is looking at doing.
yeah.
That
When
what,
we get brought it
We
up
get-
at the council meeting, they're looking to do the floating dock.
Yeah, I thought the Blue River Way was actually,
Yeah.
through
It
Blue
was gonna
River
be
Way.
a combination of the two, if we.
Yeah,
get it
between
in
Wig and
the-
Blue River Way.
Okay.
Yeah, those two are actually supposed to be taking care of that, but yeah.
okay, so,
I'll reach out to the weekend people.
yeah,
See what
let's
Dr.
see where
Brian.
we're going with
See
that.
what Brian has to say about it, and see what we do. Did we get money for the park down in Bocce
For the what?
for the foundations you want to put down at Bocce around the park?
Oh, we have not gotten a response back.
Oh.
In the literature, it said that we'd get a response in June.
Okay.
So, I suppose, well, there could be process of having to run that past Eli Lilly at State or whatever. I don't know what's involved, but they said June.
Did the trash cans ever come in?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, the lids and lanyard came in.
Okay.
I don't know if they're installed yet, but they got
I
delivered.
think Eric told me yes.
Okay. I'll check out, because I think the last time I was at the park, there wasn't any trash cans. But that's been a week or two.
So if the thing goes through, if the grant goes through for the playground, what you'll see is really an upgraded handicap access. It's already got some nice features for handicap access, and then an upgrade for comfort. So in terms of handicap access, there's going to be a sidewalk all the way around so that people can go onto it from the sidewalk at any point in the park, which means that if you're in a wheelchair, like, you won't have to go like all the way across the park to get to the swing. So or to the anything where you can play, where the kids can play on the drums and stuff like that, or where they can hike up and down the park. All of those will be accessible. Also, that would be true for someone who just wants to walk over to the bench. There's a couple of benches that are right in the park, and so say you're using a walker or you're using a cane, you'll have a solid footing all the way. You don't have to go real distance to get to it. So that's handicap access. Also, the city indicated willingness to put in a pad on the flat side of the street, because right now, if you got out of the car, your wheels are just flying down the hill. So put them on the flat side. If our application goes through and there's signage and more gates and caves and stuff like that, so that we can make it as far as the handicap accessible parking lot. And then there's going to be a pad set what would be kind of in the back that would be big enough for a pavilion, so that there'll be shade for people that eat picnics and stuff like that. There'll be a couple picnic tables there too. Right now, there's one well, but it won't be dirty. A cement pad. There's also going to be a pad set just specifically for that memorial bench, so that it can sit properly. And so then there'll be landscaping all the way around with flowering bushes and trees. And some of the grasses you see sometimes. So that will cover 3 sides. I think it's going to look really nice. It'd be a very comforting place. You'd be just attracted to the eye.
I see people down there all the time.
Yeah, already people down there.
I drive down by there. Which, speaking of that, I got all the porta pots changed to handicap.
Yep.
However, they did not put the handicap one where we wanted it down there. He said it was not level enough to put there. By the other toilets that are already there. He said it was not level enough to put it there. They went ahead and placed it without asking, so they didn't place it. I don't know if you've been down there. They placed it close to the park.
To the playground, closer to the playground. So
Right.
people really can't.
Actually, where they put it is an okay place because it's right up against a guy wire that comes down. So it seems like it's not really sitting out in the open because there's a hole in the guy wire and it's sitting there. So it doesn't really look too out of place, but it's very, very noticeable when somebody needs to go to the bathroom. Yeah, they didn't put it where I wanted it.
Well, it's going to be better for the people on the playground and worse for the people on the campus.
Well, I was just glad that they didn't put it right next to that pavilion thing. I was afraid they might have put it there. But she texted me and she said they couldn't put it where we wanted it. The guys already placed it. Would that be okay? And I went down to see where it was, and I thought, well, it's not the best, but if I don't know where the best would be. You don't want to move it too far from the playground, but you don't want to move it too far from the other either. But I mean, yeah.
Well, one thing that I hadn't realized, but then I was real pleased when I realized, is that those handicap things are big.
Yeah, they're not going to tip over.
They're not.
like they did
It's
the
going
other
to be really
Yeah.
tough to push those.
Yeah, that's what's good about those. Yeah, they're not gonna tip those over.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so remove the stumps. I'll get some quotes. Any other pet projects? What kinds of things do you guys see?
I was thinking rehab for the Eagle's Nest overlook. If we just wanted to, I talked to my grandpa. He said
Okay, what do you find out? What'd you find out?
the brick doesn't look too bad. He said the posts probably just need to be totally redone. But
No,
yeah.
seriously?
But I asked him for maybe an estimate of a price if he would just maybe do it.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got back to me yet. But it's just something to think about.
Gosh,
Yeah.
that's too bad. It's, I think, 7 posts. It's a lot of.
There's 7. Wow.
I think there's 7.
There's at least some.
Okay, well, I'm glad. Yes.
And he thinks every single one needs to be replaced. They probably need to match, but
Yeah, I'll talk to him
Would be
again
nice if
tonight.
they matched. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
To be honest,
Nicer looking thing.
I suppose
Sure,
there's
we don't
the
have to do that.
ideal, and then there's
Yeah.
the
my
doable.
husband takes the kids
Yeah.
down there. It's their
My
single
own
night out.
preference
I
is
need to
that
go check
he
it out.
comes as close to match the original as he can, but we live with
Yeah.
what he does. And compare the posts. Because I could see what he's saying, well, if you wanted to look.
Yeah, he seemed like it wouldn't cost. it sounded like he found it wouldn't cost too much for over just to make it look nice and usable. So I don't know. I'll see what he thinks as far as the price.
Well, yeah, and he could talk to us about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Is he talking like a stone, brick, doing brick and mortar, or?
I don't think so. Yeah, he said the stone looked pretty good, but it would probably have to be sealed and stuff. But I'm not sure.
okay. It would be nice if he could give us a quote so we could think about that for budget. Was it one of you guys that told me about the vandalism?
It was me.
That was you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I think it's worth noting the frustrations of dealing with what's happening. That, what was the story you were told about the vandalism?
So it was right before my grandpa was mayor, and they got a grant from the Wabash commissioner, maybe.
It was a Wabash quarter.
Okay. And they put in the bridge and the stairs that went down below and kind of refurbished it, and vandalism happened. They burnt the stairs that went down and knocked over the tops of the columns like cement. And they rebuilt the stairs, and they came and burnt them again. And then knocked the post, what they could of the post, over the ledge. And then that path that they put in, it just got let go since the vandalism kept happening. And
Well, I know that the mayor tells me that he's looking into various ways where cameras could capture what's going on in some of the sensitive areas of the works.
Should we put up money to help with
I
that?
think that might be something we want to talk about, right? Because this is so frustrating to have work being destroyed.
yeah, and then you don't want any more damage to the pickleball courts.
More than the good. I mean,
Anything
said
in
he-
the parks.
He said he was getting quotes for, right now he's getting quotes for cameras for the pavilion and the pickleball courts. Is what they were told. He said the sensitive areas.
Yeah.
Sure. I think that, I guess it's has a program where they, donate for different things. Might wanna look into that for cameras. Because I know I have my own cameras for that, and they're work cameras, so I don't know if that's, if this committee would be interested in, like, the grant program to do
Yeah.
that.
Yep, that's a good idea.
All right, so right now, Eli, I've got on your plate that you're following up with your grandpa. Thanks for talking to him. Also, that you're following up. Well, now where are we with the float? You're just going to talk to me.
Yep.
Right?
I'll see what they got going on.
And then the other thing could be to check into Comcast.
Gotcha.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So was that overlook? Was it called Eagle's Nest once upon a time?
I've heard people call it that.
It's
I don't know what it's
just called the Wabash quarter overlook. Is what it was called in that thing.
I think that's what my grandpa called
Yeah,
it.
the Wabash quarter overlook is what they called it.
Because we're going to be making some signs and we're going to have something
Yeah.
that's completely different. Okay, Wabash River, or just Wabash River overlook.
I'll look at it and see what we did before there.
Okay. All right. So there's some pretty big ticket items here, especially with the tennis court being way at the top. But and then the trails, those would be very big.
Yeah, the only thing that I can think of is when we are able to complete all the bridges, for the last bridge being done, we won't have those I-beams anymore. So that last bridge might be a little bit more expensive than what we've been quoted. Since the I-beams being used were donated.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind. I don't know how much
There
more.
was a possibility of up to $8,000 for donation for one bridge.
Right.
So I wonder if that might help out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some discussion about this. at this point, I want to be sure that the Marine Bridge, do we have an actual committed timetable? for the Marine Bridge?
I'm trying to get that from him, but I'm not able to. He just said that he will have the post set by the end of this week.
Which means what?
Like he'll have the concrete poured and whatever, the post in, the concrete dried and set. That's how I'm gathering it. I'm gonna go because I told him to make sure to start after 12 p.m. So I'm gonna go Friday and see if I can talk to him in person. But in the past, he has been delayed on timeline, but not this bad. In the last bridge, he was like maybe a couple weeks behind, not months. So disappointing. He does good work. I think we should look into talking to other people for the next bridges, or maybe just a more upfront, accurate timeline of when the bridges can be done.
Well, and I think for something like that, in some situations, contractors start losing money. when they-
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe we could make them sign a contract saying if it's not done by this date, then we're gonna start deducting so much a day.
This
you know,
much,
whatever.
Yep.
I'd be inclined in the future contracts.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is that it? Okay, so could I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Alan,
I'll second.
we need one.
You had said make all your motions tonight, sorry.
It's okay.
6:52.
Well, did it time out or something? Yeah, he
Started
did.
it.
Sorry.
Maybe it does come up after.
I wouldn't think so. We've had meetings that are longer than,
Yeah,
we've had meetings that are longer than that, so I wouldn't think so, but, yeah. I got all notes in.
Says go live and all that, so it's like.
yeah. I saw you good though. We were on the screen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
Stopped.
Just call it one.